Hour with Savage Joy. Tonight I am joined by one of my favorite Twitter people. If you're on Twitter, he is Socialist MMA, Nick Cruz. Thank you so much for joining us.
Also happy to
Can
be
you
on. I followed a lot of work on the Bernie campaign, so I'm very excited that we get to talk now.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, there is so much shit going on right now. It's just
Mhm.
bananas. One of the reasons I love following you is
Yeah,
because it seems to we seem to get pissed off about the same shit. So, I was like, okay, I like his pose. I feel them. Um, so one of the things one of my followers said,
yeah,
start off on something positive. Let's talk about like Ilhan winning again, and Miss Rashida and AOC and Jamal and Corey.
yes,
So let's talk about that first. What are your thoughts? Did you have
yeah.
fears they wouldn't
I'm
win?
very excited that they won, and not only that I'm very excited, not that they just won, that they won by a lot. Because you got to think about the implication of that as well. Because before it was all about can they win re-election, can they win re-election, and I think honestly that hindered a lot of their ability to fight like the way they wanted to because they didn't want to just get in the first term and then get immediately pushed out of there. So the fact that Rashida won by a landslide, AOC won by a landslide. I don't know the exact numbers with Ilhan, but she won pretty comfortably. So the fact that they have that leverage, knowing they have that cushion, I think that will allow them to be able to fight a little bit more aggressively and without worrying about being primary. The squad is here to stay.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. For some reason, a lot of the shit libs
Okay,
totally started just going after Ilhan the past week and a half. I have no idea why. I wasn't able to track it down, but for some reason, I don't know why, but you know how they pick and choose. It doesn't take much. When when the squad was first
yeah,
elected, we all saw Nancy Pelosi parading them around, and we've set records and things like that, and then that kind of died off, and now they're like, not those women of color,
yeah, and the crazy thing is, and one theme that I have that I focus on my Twitter and my channel is I always try to tie blue MAGA and red MAGA together. And the weeks leading up to the election for Ilhan and Rashida to leave, I was looking at comments from a lot of Biden supporters and a lot of members of the Democratic Party, and I'm like, they sound just like MAGA almost in the way they was going out after Ilhan. Um, so I'm very happy. They were delusional, and also there was a lot of people on the right as well that was like these people are vulnerable. So I think they got shot. They got a shock, and the fact is the way they won is important as well because Ilhan's opponent spent a ton of money. They got a ton of dark money coming in for all the groups that Ilhan threatens, and despite all that money, Ilhan was like, you can raise how much money you want against me, but I got people power, baby." And she did, and because of that, she smoked her opponent, and I think that's a sign of things coming. Now they know that just because they spend a lot of money, you're not going to get squad out of there, and that's not how you be a progressive incumbent. The hardest thing is winning the primary. Incumbents win about 90% of the time. People who got the most money win about 90% of the time. So we have the deck stacked against us when it comes to actually winning. But when it comes to maintaining, once we're in, baby, because we're gonna be because they actually focus on representing their constituents as well. So instead of like William Lance Clay. He don't the squad not gonna just abandon their district. So because of that, and because they resonate with the people that they represent, I think they're going to be safe for a long time. Especially if we continue to get more wins, because now people are starting to see an opening where we can have a real progressive left caucus instead of the fake progressive caucus they have now.
absolutely. Yeah, it's It's interesting to see what areas are going progressive. I am heartbroken about Cory Booker. Many of us are. What was your thought on that? Seeing the so much voter suppression, and then what do you know? Amy McGrath wins, even though her polling sucked. She says she's a Trump Democrat. They're supposed to hate Trump, and then all of a sudden, guess what? She wins. What was your reaction?
the the race between Amy McGrath and Charles Booker shows exactly the priorities of the Democratic Party. The priorities of the Democratic Party is not to defeat Republicans. It's to defeat the progressive left, and then they managed to defeat the Republicans. That's great, but at the end of the day, they can always fundraise off the Republicans. So there's no way anyone can look at Amy McGrath and the race that she is running and come to the conclusion that she stands a chance against Mitch McConnell. Charles Booker is a guy who was ignored by the corporate media and the liberal media class, and he almost defeated her despite the fact that she outraised him 10-1. So that is a damning fact. Can you imagine if Charles Booker outraised Amy McGrath 10-1? He would have won. It would have been a complete utter landslide. So that just shows how weak of a candidate that Amy McGrath is. But she's there to do her role. Her role is to she was picked by Chuck Schumer to help Mitch
Mm-hmm.
McConnell win his reelection. And once again, like I said earlier, if she wins, that's great. That's great for the Democrat Party. But if she loses, it's not. It's cool. They still got Mitch McConnell they can use to fundraise off of and blame for the reason why they're not getting votes in the Senate. Mitch McConnell is actually great for Democratic leaders because his ability to block Senate votes protect conservative Democratic members. So we was able to get like real working class policy through the Senate. We will see how Joe Manchin will vote on that. We will see how Kamala Harris will vote on that. We will see how all these fake Democratic senators will vote on those bills. So Mitch McConnell is actually good for them if you understand their true intention, which I do. So I have a theory that Chuck Schumer he picked Amy McGrath out just to help his buddy Mitch McConnell win. Um, because at the end of the day, the Democratic Party win because of the reason I lay out. And it's not even a bad deal for Amy McGrath either, because when you lose races, what happened? You get put on MSNBC. You get a spot on a board somewhere. You become a lobbyist. So whether Amy McGrath lose or win, she's going to be set. She's playing her role, and we see it with the Kamala Harris VP selection. If you play a role, no matter what happens, no matter how badly you do, the establishment will pay you back. They will give you a reward or so.
Absolutely. And the reason she'll lose is because she's a woman. That's how they're going to spin it, regardless. It's going to be because she's a woman. It's that simple.
Yep.
They love their identity
Yep.
politics.
And now that the Democratic Party is like, oh, yeah, man, they are good. Like people don't give them credit for actually how good they are at managing the oligarchy. Because when Joe Biden decided he was going to put a female vice president and a black female president, and then they pick Kamala Harris, they know that would be a shield to use to defend her from criticism from white progressives, for example. Now, this is why they get upset at me because I am a black progressive, and it's harder for them to pull out that their identity politics talking point against me. So you see how they treat black leftists, and because of that. So the black leftists like us, they don't debate us; they just block us. They just exclude us from the conversation altogether. And then when they have conversations with us, they never ask us why we don't like the Democrat Party. They never ask us why we're upset. They assume that we are an automatic bad actor, and this is how they maintain control of the dialogue. They silence black leftists by doing the tactics I'm telling you right now. They smear anyone who's not black, a white progressive, for example, who will put back on Kamala Harris. I already seen it in the short amount of time she's been announced. I seen um, people constantly going after my white progressive friends saying they racist because they going after Kamala Harris. I'm like, hey, I co-sign everything they're saying, baby. So you can't use that as a talking point. So this is a very simple strategy, unfortunately. And even if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris finds a way to choke this election, that is exactly what they're going to blame it on. They're going to blame it on the fact that there was a lot of racism against Kamala because that was her excuse uh, for doing so horrible in this campaign. Her excuse was that there was a lot of racism instead of the fact that she was just a horrible candidate.
Right. And looking back, you know, one of the times I was on the Humanist Report, Mike and I were looking back and thinking, we really feared her at first because she was the next Hillary. When she came in, we were like, oh shit, she blew up. She
Yeah,
absolutely blew up. Everyone loved her. Everyone, oh, Kamala, she's going to win.
yeah,
She's going to win. And then we saw it go to Beto and then to Buttigieg and then. And but yeah, we feared Kamala at first, absolutely. But then we saw her crash and burn quite quite early on. Are you
yeah,
surprised she was
yeah.
the
I was dead wrong on Kamala because I was one of the people. Yeah, my like almost anyone else, I was wrong about Kamala when the race first started because um, she rose to prominence like really during the Brett Kavanaugh trial. And during the whole Brett Kavanaugh thing, I was supportive of Christine Blasey Ford, but I was not like buying into the theatrics of the Democratic Party. But Kamala during those trials, she was putting on a good show. She was being very charismatic. So it was because of those trials and the fact that she was backed by the Hillary wing of the party, and it seems like she was being anointed because people don't rise up as a superstar on accident. Like it's not like they've discovered it. Like, oh, this is a California senator. No, there was a story about how Kamala Harris met with a lot of Hillary Clinton staffers in the Hamptons. So they groomed her from day one. But ever since she won the Senate, and then they immediately was grooming her because that was the one meeting they have on public file. We God know what they've been talking about behind the scenes because once again, those things just don't come out of nowhere, right? So she was groomed by the Hillary wing of the party, and regarding why I thought she was going to be a threat because I saw the Brett Kavanaugh trial, and that made me think that she was charismatic, but she was not. She's just really good in the courtroom, and that's two different things. So I saw her start campaigning. I was actually pretty shocked at how bad she was, like in terms of how likable she was. Like, and you can hide that likability factor when you're in the courtroom and you doing your you grilling Brett Kavanaugh. It's really really hard to look like the bad guy in that situation. But when you're campaigning and when you got to defend your record and you falling apart in the process of trying to defend your record, it's not a good look, and that's why she's a bad candidate. And I'm very interested to see how Joe Biden's numbers do. Not just after the immediate announcement, but after how when she's forced to defend her record because she's really really bad on that. You never know. Maybe she got some more coaching, but I was shocked that she had no response for her record. So that's how that fell apart. But just like you and Mike, I thought she was a threat at first, just because of the reason I laid out earlier.
absolutely. One of the things that's trending today is Biden Kamala landslide. That worries me because these people are delusional. That's why they never pick up a damn phone because they're like, we got this, just like they did in 2016. So what does that hashtag, say to you when you say that? Are you just like you're in for a rude awakening? Or do you think Joe's gonna win?
Yeah, the thing is, I already see them getting cocky. I already see them starting. I before the whole COVID situation and the economic collapse, I would have favored Trump in this election, but I believe that Joe Biden is going to win, and that's not a reflection of Joe Biden and not a reflection on Kamala Harris. That's a reflection of how horrible of a campaign that Trump has ran. I'm thinking like, what happened to 2016? In 2016, it's clear that it was Steve Bannon that was behind his rhetoric. I think it was Michael Cohen was his campaign. He ran his campaign as well. Like you can tell based on how he's running the campaign in 2020 that 2016 was not Trump. It either wasn't Trump or his brain is completely fried because in 16 he actually was hitting Hillary on substantive. He had a lot of bullshit too, but he had some substantive like attacks. Like he went after her for foreign policy. He went after for Clinton Foundation scandals. Now, instead of leaning into the fact that Joe Biden has a horrible criminal justice record, which Trump can outflank him because Trump passed criminal justice reform, he's pretending that Joe Biden is some sort of Antifa grandpa. like that doesn't make any sense to me. You got Kamala, a fucking cop, as his running mate, and they are still running with they are far left. And I'm like, you guys are doing more PR than you are hurting them because the people who will buy that are the people who will vote for Trump anyway. Those are the people who dive headfirst into the MAGA talking points. But you see with independence, he getting crushed with independence because uh, people who are independent, they're not hardcore partisan. They see that and they're like, yeah, Joe Biden not far left. He wrote the damn crime bill. So we see like I said, the X factor is seeing how Kamala performs. But at this point, I think I'm maybe like 80% sure that Trump is going to win because a lot of people say that maybe Trump will smash Joe Biden in the debates. Now that doesn't make sense to me at face value. I mean, Joe Biden is horrible. His brain is completely fried, and he is ripe for the pickings in terms of a debate. But people, some reason, keep getting Trump way too much credit. Like they are giving him like the 2016 Trump is dead. He's gone, and people need to understand that. I see videos of Trump talking to reporters. He don't do it often because he can't. Like they will ask him basic questions, and he can't even answer it. Like it'd be like just basic common stuff on his record. But his brain is so broken, and he's so unable to communicate ideas at this point. I listen to him, and it's shocking that anyone could fall for that, or anyone could think he's a strong debater. He didn't get on the stage with Joe Biden, and Joe Biden can bring up anything, and Trump didn't melt down. He melted down with basic reporter questions. So as Joe Biden is really bad. But when I see Trump, I'm like, okay, that's a wash. They both really bad. So I think when the debates happen, it's just gonna be two people looking like fools and not gonna hurt or help any of them. So because of that, that's why I'm more favoring Biden. Not because he's a great candidate, it's just because Trump. I've just been watching him for last year, just shocked at how bad he's been.
Now, do you think that they're actually going to go through with the debates? Some people don't think they will.
Joe Biden team actually would be smart not to, because my take is a little bit more unique. Because a lot of people are worried about how Trump's gonna beat Biden in the debates. Like I said, I personally think a lot of people are wrong about that. But with that said, I don't think there's any reason why Biden should risk that because he's comfortably in the lead right now, and Trump is melting down, and he's doing such a bad job with managing COVID and the economic collapse that Joe Biden can literally stay hidden and win this election. So even though I think Trump won't like run him over like a lot of people think he will, I still think it will just be no good reason for him to debate Trump and give him any reason for him to have a gap that could hurt him in the polls. So to answer your question, I think they're going to try everything they can to avoid the debate. I don't think they will because I think the outcry for them to actually have a debate will be real. And if he try to duck a debate, trust me, I'll be loud about it, call him out, doing the best of my ability to call him out about spitting in the face of democracy. But I honestly don't think the American people will buy that. So I think they will try, but I don't think they will be able to pull it off.
What is your reaction when you hear things like Biden say things that, Hispanic culture is more diverse than Black culture, and if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. Things like that. What is your reaction?
Once again, blue MAGA, red MAGA, same thing. Because if you take Joe Biden's quotes and just make a meme with Trump, put the quote up there and just pretend that's Trump, I'll guarantee liberals will freak if they see that. But these people are a cult. These people, there's no intellectual curiosity on their part. Don't he's blatantly he say only reason he don't say as much racist shit as Trump because recently he hadn't been given the opportunity to. But every single time, it's crazy. Almost every week or so, it's a new comment. He literally can't help himself. And I always post the quotes, even from back in the day, because you can't just even market from him being senile. This is who Joe Biden is in his core. He was complaining about racial jungles when you find desegregation, which apparently Kamala no longer have an issue with. I guess they got past their mild disagreement on whether desegregation was bad or not. Um, and then you had his comments about Obama in the 2000s, where he used something that I'm called all the time, which I hate, because I used to sell cars. And when I used to sell cars, I talked to a lot of affluent customers, and honestly, these people, they might be trying to be nice, but they always say, "Man, you are actually pretty articulate, and well, you got good community." They'll say something like, "Bro, this racist as shit." Like, what's the implication that I'm not supposed to have communication skills? So Joe Biden pulled that same line. He's like, "Wow, we actually got a guy who he's a black first black president. He's sharp, he's clean, he's articulate." So as soon as I heard that, I was like, "Yikes!" Because that's I received that kind of shit throughout my whole life, and it speaks volumes on how he's speaking. And there's just countless gaps on the campaign trail that I would have to write them down to remember all. But I remember he was talking about you got to compare um, poor kids to white kids. It was like all these racist ass comments he says, and people still want to pretend that he's somehow better than Trump. Whenever he get a chance to prepare, he got a teleprompter in front of him. He can do really well. But if he riffs, you see who Joe Biden really is, and that reflects on his policy and how little he actually cares about the black community and their status throughout the course of his run under Obama and his Senate run. Because this is something I challenge people all the time, and this is where I get the block. Joy. This is why I get the block when I bring up how black wealth tanked under Barack Obama and Joe Biden, because that's a fact. That is a fact. And you can say that the economy was crushed under George Bush, but the decisions that Obama made and his inability to bail out the people instead of bailing out the Wall Street and letting people lose their homes, that where we had all our wealth at, that was a decision that had nothing to do with George Bush. So that's the Obama and Biden left. He crushed black wealth, and if you, I see it in my everyday life. Like you see people lose their home, you see people lose their job, you see people making less money, you see people barely getting by. So people want to ask me why I'm mad. Like, bro, I see this shit every day. I see people struggling every day, and the white affluent people, once again, they can't argue that. They can't argue against black leftists. So what do? They block us.
Absolutely. And the one interesting thing if Biden does win is we're going to see so many people think they can go back to normal. We see those posts all the time. Do you fear that these protests in the street will just start dwindling? Oh, a Dem's back in office. Let's just kind of start going home. Is that a concern for you?
I hope that once again, this is another reason why him picking Joe Biden picking Kamala Harris was a big mistake, because there was potential for Joe Biden and the Democratic Party to find a way to minimize the Black Lives Matter protests under a Biden administration. But Kamala Harris has made a lot of enemies with the Black Lives Matter movement and the movement against police brutality in the prison industrial complex. So I think maybe having her on top, because Joe Biden not going to have a lot of influence in his own administration because his mental capacity. Kamala Harris will have a lot of influence, so maybe, just maybe, that will keep the activists involved. Now, the issue I have with people who believe that we can push Joe Biden to the left, my only question is to them is citation needed, because when has that ever happened? These people and the American people in general, it drives me crazy how everyone have a goldfish memory. I remember following the Obama administration because I was really excited about when he won. And then when I was getting disappointed about him, I was supporting causes like Standing Rock, Occupy Wall Street. And people forget Black Lives Matter did not start under Trump. It started under Obama because Obama militarized police. Now he did demilitarize them in 15, but how the fuck you to take credit for something for that you did? Like they said all the time, they're like, "Oh, Obama demilitarized police." He militarized it in the first place, and that was the whole issue with Ferguson. So you saw the Ferguson protests. You see the Occupy Wall Street protests. You seen Standing Rock. You see tear gas utilized in those protests. You seen people's rights being stripped in those protests. So when people make the argument that we put Joe Biden left, it drives me crazy. Be honest with me. I haven't unfollowed one person who ever said they was gonna vote for Joe Biden because they're afraid of Donald Trump. You know what pisses me off? It pisses me off when people try to feed me bullshit like we're gonna push Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the left when they have 100 billion, 100 billionaire donors. When they're butting up with people like Larry Summers, when you see them, the fact that progressives wasn't even allowed to be considered for VP, they are showing nothing but signs that they're not going to cooperate with the left. Them picking Kamala Harris is a giant fuck you to the Black Lives Matter movement. So I don't understand how anyone can coherently make that argument. So um, it just makes me mad when people bullshit me when they say stuff like Joe Biden's a decent guy. This is to be a bridge for the progressive left to take over. No, Joe Biden already said this is a bridge for Pete Buttigieg to take over. So look at the people they're elevating. The people I hated the most was Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris. They would annoy the shit out of me. Those are people they want to prop up. And you think they're gonna move to the left? No way.
Yeah, that now is the time we have the leverage. So all the people who say vote blue no matter who, you are doing nothing to help people because you're saying take corporate money, you got my vote. Shit on people, you got my vote. Keep people dying in the street, you got my vote. Everything, no matter what, you are getting my vote. And then we're purity
Right.
test people because we actually want people to stop dying. And now is the only time we have the littlest bit of leverage. And I mean, if you want your dude to win, you should be fighting for him to go more left more than we should. That should be you. It's on you to make your candidate desirable.
Right. And this is what been frustrating me a lot about the progressive leaders and the response I get from a very few progressives when they get mad at me when I go out progressive leaders. Because when I see people who get mad at me for going out progressive leaders because they didn't put Joe Biden, those people just reek of privilege to me because I don't understand what is your long game. I ask them that question and they never ever have an answer. They be like, "Well, we gotta let Biden win and we gotta play a long game." What long game? What long game? Someone please explain me what long game? 28 million Americans about to go homeless. 30 million Americans reported last month that they went hungry. They didn't have enough food to eat. What long game? We are past the long game stage. Pre-COVID, pre-economic collapse, there's a small argument to make then. I wouldn't even have agreed with the argument pre-COVID because in the situation where 68,000 Americans are dying because they don't have access to Medicare for all, we have rogue government agencies like ICE, Department of Homeland Security, who are stripping us of our human rights, who are constant human rights violations. So pre-COVID, pre-economic collapse, I will still put back on that argument of we need a long-term plan because people are being hurt by what we're doing right now. And you think you're gonna sell that to me in COVID? So we have all those issues I just laid out. Plus we have COVID. Plus we had Democrats doing giant corporate bailouts. Plus we have Black Lives Matter protests, and we see Democratic Party being silent on that. Joe Biden wasn't forcefully condemning the use of the Department of Homeland Security because he wants to use it himself. So um, the idea that there's a long game makes no sense to me. Because how many lives are you sacrificing for your long game? Because you want to be liked by the Democratic Party, because you want to have a career in your media. There is no long game. If you want to play a long game, there's gonna be a lot of people who suffer, a lot of people who die, and you are comfort because the reason why I say it's privilege because the people who advocate for this, the people who think my idea of Bernie putting pressure on him to get Medicare for all, they know they can survive 8 to 12 years without Medicare for all. I am not sure that I have people in my family that will survive another 10, 12 years on neoliberal capitalism and under our current healthcare system. So do you understand the difference between our urgency? Their urgency is not as much as mine. So that's why I make it a very important point to say, fuck that long game shit because you guys are sacrificing lives because you guys are scared to be revolutionaries.
Absolutely. Now the lack of empathy is a cancer. Cognitive dissonance is a cancer. These things would change lives if people would start caring about other people. What do what do you wish that you could just shake people and say, and like get it through their heads? If you could say one thing, just like shut the fuck up, listen.
I think my message I was sending out earlier is just about I'm like show solidarity with your people, man, because I'm not of the elite class. I never been of money. Like right now, I guess there are people that following me. I got a platform, but that shit doesn't translate to money. Like that shit doesn't translate to healthcare. So I don't have healthcare. So you people that are like, whoa, we put Medicare for 8 years. We can just play the short long term game. I'm like, what the fuck is your solidarity with me? Where's your solidarity with the people who don't have health care? Where's your solidarity with the people that about to go homeless? Where's your solidarity with people? Because when you advocated for this strategy, you're not showing solidarity with us. You're showing weakness because you'd rather have yourself comfortable. Because Trump is the first time that the real first time the white liberal class lost. The white liberal class never loses an election. They never lose an election. You know why white liberals don't dislike Obama? Because white liberals was the only class that Obama didn't destroy. Obama, like I said earlier, Obama tanked black wealth. He took our homes. He deported Latinos in mass. In mass. He bombed Muslims. So you can check off the list. And Standing Rock, he literally put federal pressure against Native Americans. So you can go line by line. Every single class was affected by Joe Biden and the Barack Obama administration, except the white class. So do you understand how frustrated I get when I see people like, well, Biden not gonna be that bad? Have you not paid attention to the last 8 years? And Joe Biden is to the right of Obama. So what I say to answer your question directly, to try and get to these people, I'm like, bro, the idea of being progressive, the idea of us being a movement is that you're supposed to be standing in solidarity with us together. And if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris refuse to support Medicare for all, just for one, we didn't even touch on anything else. Just for one, I'm showing like how hard will you fight even if we did win? Like if I see when I've seen how easy you fold now, like even if Bernie will won, how fast will you fold so you can maintain relations in the Democratic Party? It really hurt my faith in a lot of people who pushing these ideas that we gotta be nice. Now is not the time to be nice. I said I embrace Malcolm X style politics. I embrace Malcolm X. I reject Barack Obama because now is not the time for us to be right. I consider now to be the new civil rights era 2.0. Because if you look at the devastation that's going on in the black communities, the poor communities, Latino community, I stand solidarity with all these communities. Um, it's unbelievably crazy, and this is why I'm mad, and this is why I'm upset, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. People on Twitter, it's funny. Comment I get sometimes that cracks me up with shows why people are deeply unserious. They be like, "Man, this dude, you're fly. This guy, he's so salty. Hey, you butthurt? Yes, I am. I am butthurt because I am seeing our country fall apart. I am seeing people's lives ruined because I take this shit seriously. This shit is not a game to me. These people that say that shit are deeply unserious people. So I never apologize about my anger. And if I ever do try and get in a public sphere, this is exactly the kind of anger I will show. I'm not here to be nice to these people, and they already hate me because I'm willing to tell the truth. I'm angry because the American people have been failed. So that's the message I send to people out who get upset at me for being upset at progressive politicians.
Absolutely. You have people like Obama who say, "Don't boo, vote." You have Michelle Obama say, "I'm feeling a little bit
Yeah,
depressed, and when you go low, we go high." Look, that is so much privilege in those three statements that it's just overwhelming.
yep, yep. And the whole don't boo vote. How does that work for us so far? I
Mhm.
remember a ton of people wanted to vote for Charles Booker, and they closed polling stations in Charles Booker biggest town. I think it was Louisville, and these people had to wait hours. And you guys talking about don't boo, don't vote, don't boo, vote. I remember there was a lot of college students in Texas, in Michigan, that wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders, and mysteriously, a lot of the polling locations were closed. So these people had to wait 4 to 8 hours. I actually heard stories where it was up to 12 hours for a vote. You talking about boo don't vote? I'm seeing people. I see ballots being tossed. I think it was like 6,000 or 5,000 ballots in the Charles Booker race that was tossed. You talking about boo don't vote? I'm seeing nothing but voter fraud, voter suppression. People always accuse the Republican Party of doing that, but this is what they do. This is the Hillary Clinton style tactic where she was criticized, she was like, "Oh well, why don't you run?" Knowing that the fact that the game is rigged against us. Like the amount of classism that I see out of the liberal class just makes me so upset. And you can see it, like once you discover it. Because I remember I tell stories about when I was a stupid lib. I tell stories about it. I remember being excited about Obama, and there was like a year or two I still had kind of I was still in denial about what Obama was about. I remember the thought I had back then. Um, but once you peel that vapid uh, non-policy based appeal back, and I saw through it. Like I didn't see it through it at first, but once I saw the classism, once I saw it, someone explain it to me, once I became class conscious, I can't unsee it. I can't unsee it. So that's one thing that really bothers me about the Democrat Party.
Absolutely. We also, get attacked for, you know, saying anything about the Democrats, anything, even if it's objective criticism, it could be 100% valid. I don't care. You're helping Trump by saying that. So we have a lot of power, apparently. I mean, Trump apparently follows us and listens to our every word, and these people wouldn't see these things unless we ourselves shared them. So doesn't that make you feel good that we're that powerful? I kind of feel special.
You, yeah, it's we have power because you look at the polls with Joe Biden. Joe Biden is up what? I don't know. I haven't seen the most recent polls to be fair, but I remember I saw one where he was like up 10, 12 points. I mean, he is really beating Trump in the polls, unlike the way that Hillary Clinton was at this point in the race. So, despite that lead in the polls, why are you worried about me on Twitter? I feel like they are less confident than they are letting on. They are worried about us sharing ideas. Why are you so worried about my opinion? I don't go on their pages. I do my own. I like to present information. Why are you on my page? Like I'm just some guy. We don't our influence don't matter. We are just Bernie bros. So why are you so worried? It speaks volumes that they choose to attack us instead of phone banking. And if Joe Biden loses, it's going to be because of that arrogance and it'll be because of their laziness. And I see some Biden people go after us and attack us because they say Bernie Sanders supporters wasn't donating to Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders supporters not doing anything they can to help Joe Biden, and this is the massive mistake that they made. And even if Joe Biden wins, this is exactly why you're going to see a possible red wave because the people that you need to win elections are the younger voters, us, the Bernie people. I was canvassing in multiple states and if Bernie won, I would have did the same thing in 2020. I would have been canvassing all. I would well, not post COVID, obviously, but I would be phone banking. I would be doing everything I can to win because that's the power of the youth. Joe Biden did not have that power of the youth. The youth that's voting for Joe Biden is the youth that just scared of Donald Trump. There's no enthusiasm for Biden. Those are the people who phone him. They're not gonna phone bank for him. They're not gonna spread the word to their friends. So it's not a good long term look. And if people think I'm wrong, history once again will prove me right. Remember when Barack Obama was elected in 2008 and he had all this energy around him, and then they abandoned young people, and then what happened? They lost 1,200 seats in his term, and the Republican Party had control of government for the entire administration. So even if you win, and when they win because the Republican Party is bad. That does not bode well for you in the future. Let's say Biden wins 2020 and he runs a neoliberal hellhole administration, which I am predicting he will. If he do that, if he suppress the protests, if he go after the left, guess who's not going to show up for 2022? Guess who's not going to rally around your neoliberal candidate? We do our best to get our progressive candidates elected in 2020, but we're not going to vote for the neoliberal establishment. We're not going to vote for the Democrats. They need to be safe in those conservative Democrat seats, for example. So what happened is even if Joe Biden win, 2022 is not going to be good for them if Biden governs the way I anticipate him to.
Absolutely. Um, I see a lot of comments for the People's Party. I have Nick Brana coming on next week, you guys. So we'll be definitely talking about that. As far as things go right now, Nick, I mean, where are you as far as November? Are you gonna not vote? Are you going green? Are you gonna vote Biden? Or like, where are you?
Yeah, I voted for Jill Stein in 2016. I was still very excited about that vote because Jill Stein is such an underrated. She's not perfect. No one is perfect. She has a few things I can criticize her on, but Jill Stein was incredible at pushing back at neoliberal talking points. I used to watch her interviews, and this is why and when they went after Jill Stein, what they always attack her on. They always throw some bullshit out about how she's buddy with Putin and Russia, despite the fact that Hillary Clinton had multi-million-dollar business deals in Russia. Like Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation have business dealings in Russia, and that's why they put up RussiaGate so they can deflect from that. So instead of focus on Hillary ties to Russia, because despite her $1 million business deals, they focus on Jill Stein Russian connection because she had a dinner with Putin, one dinner, and that's the only thing they will bring up about her. Because whenever you talk with her about the issues down the line, she will crush them. So I loved Joe Stein. I love the Green Party. There is some criticism from the progressives about how the Green Party is ran now, and that's why there is a big movement for the People's Party. But I am still a harsh advocate of voting for Howie Hawkins. Once again, I may not have that same. Like I said, I actually admired Joe Stein. I followed her for a while, and I regretted very deeply not voting for her in 2016. And that Obama vote in 2012, that was the last time I ever voted for Lesser to Evil. I said that's the last time I'm going to do it. And I felt bad for not voting for Stein when I learned about her before 16. But the reason why I voted for Howie, despite a lot of people concerns for him, is that have you seen his platform? Like the Green Party platform is amazing. It's the one of the most progressive platforms I've ever seen. It's the most pro-black platform I've ever seen. And I always tell people this: I'm a policy voter above anything else, above anything else. And the policies that the Green Party is pushing, they calling for. Once again, this is something I've been talking about for the last year or two. I said the fight for 15 is trash. It should be at least a fight for 20, and they have that on their platform. They call for they are literally calling for decreasing the military budget by like 50. I think it's like 70% in their platform. So it's like, man, this is absolutely incredible stuff. They call for reparations. This is the most pro working class platform I've ever seen. So yes, there are some legit criticism of the Green Party, but I think the people who are not voting for the Green Party this year, if you're anti-establishment, I think you're being foolish. Um, I think our number one concern is should be try to destroy the two-party duopoly because that's the source of all our problems. And I'm not going to dive into that because I can talk about that forever. But let's say that's the two-party duopoly is the cause of all our problems. So we need to do everything we can to dismantle that, and I'm willing to take any avenue that's possible. So I've been a supporter of the Green Party for a long time now. I've been supportive of the movement of the People's Party. I'm very supportive of both of them, and I'm very happy that there doesn't seem to be an intense rivalry between them yet, and it will break my heart if we let the anti-establishment left divide itself because there are people that are tribal about whether they should support the Green Party or they should support the Movement for the People Party. My thing is vote for progressives no matter where they run. I don't care where the fuck party they run in. You can call yourself a green. You could be a People Party. You could be a Democrat. If you had the policies I agree with, I will vote for you. I think that's the mindset that we should have. I think we should have once again that word I used before. We need to have solidarity. You can like the People Party more. You can like the Green Party a little bit more. You can have criticism of each one. But at the end of the day, if you see someone pushing for a policy that will help the working class people, I think these are the people we need to rally behind. If someone running for a local election, we got someone running for Senate election. Like I'm really paying attention closely to Lisa Savage in Maine. These are the kind of people that we need to rally behind, and she a Green Party candidate. There's no reason why anyone should be around her. So no matter what party it is, I think policy first, destroy the two-party duopoly first. So to answer your question, Holly Hawkins 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at the comments while we're talking, and people are really feeling everything, you know, you're saying essentially, which is always good. Um, the Green Party, I want to tell people that if you're not
Good.
familiar with, you know, the candidates on the Green Party, Howie's VP, Angela Walker, if you go to YouTube and you search Joy Marie Mann Angela Walker, you will see, or Savage Joy Angela Walker, you will see our show. I interviewed her. I love that woman. She is
Ooh,
literally
wow.
a dump truck driver, and she is running
Yes,
for,
yes.
okay. She is strong, she's beautiful, she's just a total badass, and
Now,
she's real.
mhm.
I love her. That's who we need. We need we the people, and she
Yeah, she
is
was
the
one of the followers I got on Twitter. Yeah, I remember I fanboyed over her when she followed me because can you imagine a debate between Kamala Harris and her? Like it would be she would smoke her.
oh,
She is
that
a
would be so
firebrand.
awesome.
And these are the people we need to support once again. Like, can you like? There's no way they will ever let that debate happen
No
between her and
way.
Kamala. It'll be an absolute massacre. And I think, no, and I'm very excited to see how the future of her career plays out because obviously, no matter what happens this election, she's still to be here. She's still going to be in the game. So as we see more people become radicalized, and as my life goal of destroying the two-party duopoly, hopefully it comes to tuition. I think we're going to see her be almost like an Angela Davis like character, almost where she's like this strong black woman who is unapologetically anti-establishment and she's going to be a threat. And she's a person I've been learning about ever since I'm not going to pretend I was like a long term supporter of her. I remember when I heard that she was VP of Holly Hawkins, I immediately did my research to her, and I was just really impressed by her. So once again, that's a big part of the ticket. I would be very proud to vote for, and she can be the next Jill Stein. Like I'm a big fan of Jill Stein. I can see that out Angela Walker.
Yeah, I mean, when people say, well, I'm voting for Biden because I want a black woman VP, okay, well, do you ever hear of Angela Walker? You know what I mean? She's
That's a
pretty
good one.
awesome.
That's a good one.
Do you want to
That's why identity politics. That's why. So go ahead.
oh, go ahead. I was just going to ask about identity politics.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna go ahead here. I think there's a little lag here. So that's one thing that frustrates me about identity politics so much is how shamelessly they weaponize it. You see them say things like "vote like a black woman," and that pretty much means you gotta vote neoliberal Democrat. You gotta vote neoliberal capitalism, because Brianna Joy Gray, last time I checked, is an educated black woman. And Brianna Joy Gray gets smeared and attacked by the Democratic establishment more than almost anyone I've ever seen. So what's that about? We talked about it earlier, how the Democratic Party went after the Squad. If the Squad had neoliberal politics, they would be beloved by the Democratic establishment. But the Democratic establishment went after them. So what's the lesson we are learning here? What you see how they treat Nina Turner. The lesson is we support women of color unless they're politically on the left. We support people of color unless they're on the left. And if they're not, as I mentioned before, you get smeared, you get silenced, you get muted. Secret Trump supporter or something like that. So the amount of especially ever since my account blew up, the amount of racist comments I get from Blue MAGA, it really disgusts me. Like people don't see all the stuff I get, like PMs and stuff. But the white liberal, and this is what Malcolm X warned us about a long time ago, is one of the most racist people on the planet because they truly believe that they own the sovereignty of black people. You can tell that by the way they speak to me. Like I have white women call me a coon. Like they have the fucking right to use that. Like I get that shit all the time. Like what make you think you can call me a coon as a white lady? They think that because they voted for Barack Obama twice, they can talk to black people and they can treat black people however they want. And when you see their criticism of me, you never see them ask me why I'm upset. You never see them ask what will make my life better. They never ask me why I'm up. And then when I bring up Joe Biden's record and the fact that Joe Biden probably did more damage in the black community than anyone in the last 40 years, their reaction is, I don't give a fuck. Like they don't care that black wealth tanked on Obama. They legitimately don't care. They legitimately don't care that the crime bill destroyed our communities. They legitimately don't care that the bankruptcy bill that made by Joe Biden disproportionately go after us because we get charged more on student loan debt. We get charged more on credit card company. Let me tell you a story. I got a check in the mail for $1,000. It was about 2 years ago. You know why I got that check? Because the people that loaned me my first car got sued for racial discrimination. They got caught charging black people higher interest rate for the same financial situation than they were charging white customers. And I remember my first car I ran out. I didn't know much about buying cars. My interest rate was crazy. And I remember they gave me they sent me a letter. They told me I didn't even know about the court case was even going on. They sent me a letter explaining how you got these businesses and you got these banks and you got these companies charging black people higher interest rate. And this is the system they defend. This is the system they defend. A system that Joe Biden created with his bankruptcy bill, where they and one thing that Joe Biden did as well when he was a credit card shill is that he fought against regulations that would make it easier to go after people that committed credit fraud like we did, like what happened to me. That's Joe Biden resume. Now I explain this shit to liberals all the time. And their reaction is they don't give a fuck. They don't care. They could not care less about whether black people get charged higher interest rate. They don't care about prison slave labor. They don't give a fuck about the fact that we blowing up brown kids overseas. And this is why Malcolm X warned us about these people, because these people will put on suit and tie and pretend they're our best friend. Meanwhile, our community getting destroyed and they don't give a fuck. So that's why I hate identity politics, because identity politics is only used to punch left. And they don't care about black lives. They care about their donors and their neoliberal agenda.
Absolutely. Um, I'm just like nodding with everything you say. And what do you want to leave our viewers with? Definitely give
I told you I'm mad.
your podcast info, your Twitter info. My girl Jenna just is reactivating her Twitter account just so she can follow you. Um, so just what do you want to leave people with as well as your info?
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. So I'll leave people with this thought because I've been very upset and honestly I have been positive on my page. I remember there was a transformation on my page. It's funny when people bring it up because I remember pre Super Tuesday my Twitter page was all about yo we out here doing work for Bernie. It was a lot of positive energy, a lot of we can do this, we're gonna win. We're gonna take down the establishment. That was my you can literally look at the history. That was my Twitter page. Then post Super Tuesday it's straight up burning down now. So to end it off with this, I'm gonna end it with my theory of change, and this is something I've been talking to people about because I've been criticizing what I think the movement, the progressive leaders make. So this is what I think um, should happen, and this is what I kind of hope will happen. I think no matter what, the executive branch is lost. And people who want to, after seeing the Bernie campaign, the people who rely so much on the executive branch, I think they're being pretty foolish. Our focus now should be the people's convention coming up here pretty soon. Our focus should be destroying the two-party duopoly. Our focus should be trying to take over the government at small local levels, take over and win congressional races. And when you explain this strategy, people say that can't happen. That's gonna be really hard. We gotta just to fall in line Democrats and hope they give us crumbs. Well, revolutions aren't supposed to be easy, guys. Like once again, I feel like our movement get a lot of bad advice from people who are privileged. I'm ready to do whatever it takes to change the disastrous direction our party is going. So I think that should be the focus. I don't care who fucking wins between Trump and Joe Biden. We stay in the streets. We help Lisa Savage win. We keep primarying these dinosaur Democrats, and we slowly take over the government because I think at the end of the day, we're gonna win. It just because if you look at the demographics, we're gonna the progressive left is gonna win. But it just my issue is the timing. We don't have a lot of time, and the long game strategy is not going to work. We got to immediately get people in there, and we got to get them to go against the government, which is why I'm excited now. Post election, I mentioned that earlier. Hopefully, the squad has a little bit more leverage now that they know they're safe. Now they got a little bit more members. They got not Charles Booker. They got Jamar Bowman and Corey Bush now to back them up. So hopefully, with those people, they be a little bit more bold, and with us coming together, a coalition, we can actually get some more work done. So I think that's my theory of change, and I don't think the lesser of two evils is going to work. And I think it's about time for us to abandon that. So I end on that. And if you guys want to check me out, obviously my Twitter is Socialist MMA, my YouTube, I'm the Progressive Martial Artist as well. So yeah, that's and I can talk about my theory of change for a long time. It's a very long subject, but I can at least leave people with that because when I talk, people are like, okay, so what's the answer? The answer is not easy. Like revolutions aren't easy. I can tell you guys what we can do, but I can't say it's going to be guaranteed. But I think that should be our focus. We need to come together as a united left, whether it be no matter what party, and fight the establishment. Don't join them. And that's been my criticism of the progressive, that they've been too willing to join the establishment instead of fighting them. So I think that's the game plan.
Absolutely. A shout out to For the Win All Day. Um, Nobody's making you watch this fucking stream. You don't like it and you want to show for Biden, go make some fucking phone calls. You're not going to convert anyone here. We are individuals. We speak our own minds, and we're not going to be vote shamed. We've heard it all before. And you guys are making me not going to vote for Biden even harder. How about that? Anyway, so my book that I wrote with that is
Yep.
is a resistance parody. It's basically deals with every freaking thing we talked about tonight. And some of our characters are Alyssa Shalano, Nancy Pagosi, Jennifer Poobin, Nira Tantrum, and our protagonist is Nina Burner. And so we are represented. And speaking of which, Nina has asked myself and Pat to go on her show next week to talk about our book, which is insane. So yes, we will be joining her on this show. I have Mark Charles, the 17th. He is the
Nice.
independent uh, presidential candidate. He's a Native man who has a lot of indigenous plans on his platform. I have Nick Brana from People's Party on the 21st. I have Mike Figueredo from Humanist Report the 25th. So I have a lot of good stuff coming up. But thank you guys so much for watching, all except you, FTW all day. I do not thank you, but everyone else. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, Nick. I've enjoyed talking to you as I knew I would. One of my favorite Twitters people.
Yeah, I have fun. Yeah, I
Awesome.
had a fun time. It was good talking to you, Savage Joy. I look forward to communicating some more.
Absolutely. I will post this right up on Twitter and tag you. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Nice. Let's do that.